Hello, BookTube. Well, it's Friday, that's AM reading. It's a little bit frazzled of a process for me because it's the last Friday of the month, which means that over on my shelf, I don't know if I can show it to you from here, that shelf there, my professional shelf, my work shelf, my review copy shelf, everything has to shift. The top shelf, as you saw, is empty, and that is where all of May books will go, and everything will come up a month. And not only that, but then once the May books are all segregated, they all have to be prioritized. I have to figure out what I'm going to do with them. Take out the ones that I'm definitely not going to review for anybody. I know that for sure. Then segregate the ones that I'm going to review for other people. I'm reviewing a big, fat World War II history for the American Conservative. I'm reviewing a book every day for Kirkus. I have a full slate of reviews for the Christian Science Monitor. There's all the books for Open Letters Weekly, and the book that I'll be doing for the June issue of Open Letters Monthly, the big table of contents piece that I'll be doing for the June issue. And, you know, the National in Abu Dhabi, I'm sure they'll pick something, and it'll be one of those books, so I'll need to set that aside as well. So there's a bit of organization to go along with that, and also there are bound to be one or two April books that I absolutely don't want to let go, that I want to make sure that I review, even though it's May. So that is on my mind, and it reflects on my AM reading. But I've got 5 books to show you here, and they are all May titles, because the bulk of what I will be doing this weekend will be May reading in an attempt to get a jump on the month, to get a little momentum going. And I'm going to start off with 2 French super hotties, which every AM reading should start off with, not just mine, but yours as well. The first one is The End of Eddie by Edouard Louis. And this is, we'll give you a little shot of him. There is our author, all of 18 years old. This is an English-language translation of a 2014 novella that he wrote about, you know, how hard a time it is being gay. And I want to read it. I was interested in it anyway when it was originally published, and I never got around to it. Now that it's got an English-language translation, I will read it on the outside chance that it gets a lot of attention, more attention than it deserves, as sometimes niche books do. Not particularly looking in Garth Greenwell's direction. And we'll move on to something we've seen on this channel, which is How the Zebra Got Its Stripes. This is the finished copy. This is by Leo Grasset, who I recently learned has a very entertaining YouTube channel. So I subscribe to it. Now I get his manic jump cuts as part of my daily fare. And we'll give you, this is evolutionary tidbits and bitnots. And here's our author. There he is. And then we move on. We will leave the sheltered inlet of French super hotties and move on. The next one is a biography. It looks really entertaining. I'm looking forward to it. It's by Sherry Lewis, and it's called The Enlightened Mr. Parkinson. And it's about the man who originally diagnosed Parkinson's disease and did such a thorough, well-grounded scientific job of it that most of his work on the disease is still sound. Even though he did it in the Enlightenment, he did it 200 years ago. It's even so, he did an amazingly thorough job. And I don't think there's ever been an English language biography of him. Certainly hasn't been one in a long, long time. I've never read anything about him. And I made a point when I got this of specifically not learning anything more about him than I already know. So I'll go into the book wide open to the story that the author wants to tell me. And then the next one is an author I know well. This is Pat Buchanan. This is Nixon's White House Wars, which is another self-serving history/memoir of his about his time in the Nixon administration. One of the chapters in the book is actually called "Burn the Tapes." But as he says in his prefatory material, he is the last Nixon foot soldier who will ever tell the story of the Nixon White House. And he's smart. He's smart enough to know that gives his book a certain inevitable interest. Kind of makes it inevitable reading. So I will read it, and I will hope that it's a little more self-controlled than his last couple of books. And then the last one, the one I'm looking forward to the most, is by Richard Prum, and it's called The Evolution of Beauty. And the subtitle is How Darwin's Forgotten Theory of Mate Choice Shapes the Animal World and Us. And it deals with speculation that Darwin had, and that the scientific community has largely left it alone, especially in large popular works like this, the speculation that in addition to natural selection working on the principles of evolutionary advantage, of genetic advantage, you know, if you have bigger horns, you can defend my children better, so I will mate with you. If you have the ability to go longer without water and we live in an area that's prone to drought, then I will mate with you. But also, in addition to those things, subjective aesthetic qualities. Do I find you visually appealing? And what effect that soft matter might have on the hard matter of evolution. And I think that's, as a premise, absolutely fascinating. So I'll be gobbling this up this weekend. And that is my AM reading preliminary. There'll be additions, but these things I'm definitely going to do. So a book on Darwin, a book on Nixon, a book on Mr. Parkinson, the man for whom the disease is named, and then 2 slim little books by French super hotties. And that is my AM reading. And as usual with AM reading, I'm curious to know what you'll be working on this weekend. So feel free to tell me in the comments field. Sorry about I just noticed the end of the world, I'm being raptured lighting effect that happens in this new location. I haven't noticed it because for the last 71 days, Boston has been shrouded in impenetrable gloom and chill and sleet and clouds. So this is the first time I've used this camera in this setup when the sun is out. So I'll have to work with the positioning to see if maybe I can change that. I assure you, those of you who might be worried, I am not being raptured. I'll see you fellow sinners soon. Thank you, BookTube.